Okay, please help me understand something. What's with all the Roman Reigns hate? I'm not surprised by it. I'm disappointed by it. But more so, I just really don't get it. And I'm hoping that as I make my case here for why it's ridiculous for there to be so much Roman Reigns hate, that some of you will take to the comments section and help me understand and will be able to explain it to me why there's so much Roman Reigns hate going on right now. I mean, you would think that this guy was being treated 100% like John Cena 2.0 when he's never even been the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, Jesus Christ, we're firing preemptive strikes, hating on this guy, and I don't really see why. But help me understand, why is it? Why are so many of you hating on Roman Reigns so much? Is it the fact that he's a bigger dude, that he fits the mold of a more traditional WWE muscle main event guy? Look, I understand that the days of where those bigger dudes being the only larger than life personalities is perhaps passe. And maybe there's a correlation to the impact negatively on the professional wrestling business. That's an argument for another time. But I've always been an advocate for having different people of different shapes and different sizes. And just because a guy is 6'3", 6'4", 260, 270 pounds, that doesn't mean he sucks. Doesn't make him great, but it doesn't mean he sucks. Conversely, just because a guy is 5'10" and 190 pounds, like me, and can do a bunch of flips and kicks, doesn't make him fucking great either. To me, variety is the spice of life, especially when it comes to professional wrestling. You need all types of guys, all different shapes and all different sizes. Too much of everybody being big or too much of everybody being small is ridiculous, and it's very counterproductive because then, in that case, nobody stands out. I don't give a damn who you are. No matter how many flips or kicks you do, or how many weights or steroids you fucking take. So hating on this guy just because you see him as the typical WWE muscle type of guy, I think is completely and totally ridiculous. Is it the fact that he didn't wrestle for a decade on the independent scene? Well, The Rock didn't either, and you don't hate him. Brock Lesnar didn't either. You don't fucking hate on him. You know, Randy Orton didn't. Some of you don't hate on him. When did it become a requirement for these guys to have to work in Japan or on the independent scene for so many years for you to get behind them and like them? You see a lot of people that frankly are so talented that people absolutely worship the ground they walk on because they worked here, they worked fucking there, they worked everywhere except the WWE for years. Different people have different paths to the top. We should applaud them for getting to the top and following through and making successes of themselves, not critiquing necessarily their path and why one had it easier than maybe the other. They both got there. You know, both had situations, both had obstacles to overcome for sure. Is it the fact that you think that he's not able to cut a main event quality promo? Well, you're probably right about that. But frankly, on the WWE roster, who really truly can today? There aren't a lot of guys. Furthermore, when it comes to Roman Reigns cutting a promo, it most certainly doesn't help in the scripted environment when they script him some of the biggest bullshit that I've ever heard in my entire life. Also, keep this in mind that for many of you serious hardcore wrestling fans, whatever label you would like to give yourself, who take the in-ring components incredibly serious, and you know you do because, again, as I've referenced before, that's all you really have to latch on to justify why you're still a professional wrestling fan. For so many of you, one of your all-time favorites is Bret Hart. And because he's the walking billboard for great fucking promo work throughout his career, right? I remember when he got his first title opportunity in late 1992, that guy couldn't talk on the mic to save his fucking life. But I bet you nobody bitches and moans about Bret Hart getting the title back in 1992 because, by God, he wrestled for years in the tag team division. By God, he was the excellence of execution. He was a great technical wrestler, so the promos didn't fucking matter. So they matter for one guy and they don't matter for the other guy. Okay, well then let's look at a more relevant comparison for Roman Reigns. We're talking about how he's not ready because he can't cut a promo. What the fuck do you call Brock Lesnar? I remember so many of you, the serious hardcore fans that are hating on on Roman Reigns now, were all giggly tits and had your dicks aflutter in 2002 when Brock Lesnar was getting the rocket ship planted straight up his ass, even though he was going out there a lot of nights and injuring anybody and everybody in the ring, up to and including not only his opponents, but him fucking self, and he couldn't cut a promo to save his goddamn life. And from the night after WrestleMania 18 until SummerSlam, somehow along the way it was determined he was going to be the next big thing, and by SummerSlam 2002, he's beating The Rock and becoming the WWE Undisputed Champion. Couldn't talk a lick. Frankly, I don't think still can talk a lick. But we're okay with this guy getting a main spot. We're okay with this guy being a top guy because he's Brock Lesnar and he's got an amateur background. He's associated with Paul Heyman. I mean, seriously, when you button down Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, how much of a fucking difference is there really truly, especially when you compare Roman Reigns in 2015 to what you had in Brock Lesnar in 2002 in his rocket ship push to the fucking title? Is it the fact that you're afraid of him becoming John Cena 2.0? Well, I understand that because there's a possibility of that. But we don't know for sure. And yes, maybe it's not that much better to have a John Cena 2.0 because it would still be somebody like Cena. But as desperate as so many of you are for somebody else to take Cena's spot, maybe if you did have a Roman Reigns become a Cena 2.0 type to a certain degree, and it was established that he could move merch like a top dog and he could draw ratings at a level near or above what Cena could do, wouldn't that benefit the company overall, breaking them from the John Cena teaching them that they don't need this guy as much as they think and maybe opening up other avenues for other individuals? And isn't that what we're supposed to fucking want? We bitch about so often? And this whole notion that this guy isn't fucking ready. Okay, a lot of times, who really is fucking ready until they're ready? I remember when Randy Orton got that rocket ship in 2004. He wasn't fucking ready, but so many serious hardcore fans thought it was the greatest fucking thing ever because he's the new guy, he's the new guy, he's the new guy. He was forced down your throat in 2004, and he wasn't fucking ready. He most certainly wasn't ready for a freaking babyface title run. Oh, good Christ. Brock Lesnar in 2002, he most certainly wasn't fucking ready, but they gave him the goddamn title anyways. Sometimes that shit happens. It's different circumstances. It's different opportunities. Not everybody needs to fit that same traditional mold of how they get to the top and how they get to that title. Well, frankly, sometimes the only way to find out if a guy is ready to be a champion is to give him the opportunity to be champion and see how he picks up the ball and fucking runs with it. Is it the fact that a lot of you don't want to see Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble and go on a main event WrestleMania 31 because Daniel fucking Bryan is back? And if it's not Daniel Bryan FTW all the fucking time, you're going to pout like a bunch of whiny bitches? I mean, is that seriously what it's going to be? Have we degraded to that as wrestling fans, where it's Daniel Bryan or it's nothing? So Daniel Bryan has to win everything all the fucking time? And it's starting to seem like it gets to that point. Is that always going to be the answer every year at WrestleMania time? Oh, we got to put Daniel Bryan in the main event because he's Daniel Bryan and he's one of the best, if not the best, motherfucker wrestlers in the world. We don't like that a big muscle guy like Roman Reigns could potentially get that spot, even though it would be an opportunity to elevate and create a new star because Daniel Bryan's back and we love Daniel Bryan more than everything else. I just don't get it. Why so much hate for Roman Reigns? I grant you, he's got a long way to go. I grant you, I don't think the timing is perfect for him to be the champion either. I think there was actually more timing there last year in the summer that would have been able to mask some of the deficiencies that he had because people would have been happy about somebody else being in that top spot than they would be right now. But at the end of the day, since when do you fucking care about promos all that goddamn much? Since when does everybody have to wrestle one type of style with flips and kicks, a bunch of no-selling and false finishes in order to have a good style match? Since when are you the only type of wrestling fans that the WWE needs to fucking appeal to? This is something that a lot of you just seem to never freaking understand. Since when does everybody need to be 5'10" and 190 pounds in the goddamn main event scene or sit there and have wrestled on the independent scene for a fucking decade for you to get over with them and fall in love with them as professional wrestlers? I mean, so many of you are swooning all over Bray Wyatt. Did he work for a decade on the independent scene? Is he a smaller type of guy? I mean, I don't know why so many of you like Bray Wyatt. You claim that you do, but why? He's good in the ring, but he's not the best. He cuts promos, you don't fucking like them. He's a bigger dude, you don't like that. He didn't spend 10 years in the independent scene. You don't like that. He's not Daniel Bryan, so you don't fucking like that. I'm just wondering. I mean, at this point in time, are we in a situation with the WWE where it's so bad and it's so predictable and it's so repetitive and so much of the shit that we do that any new star that they generate is a good thing? Like, I think back to some of the great eras of the WWE, and I even think back to the Attitude Era. I wasn't that big on every single guy at the top scene, But I appreciated every single guy that was there at the top scene, knowing that they all could bring something different to the table and that the product and the company as a whole was much better off because you had 6 to 8 guys that could legitimately be in a top spot in that freaking company instead of one or goddamn two. They all did different things. Look, I'm with you. It shouldn't be one type of guy that gets that type of push. And it shouldn't always be just the bigger guy by default because he's the bigger freaking guy. I agree with that. I agree that guys like Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt, and maybe to a lesser degree of Cesaro, should get monster opportunities and be given chances to become big-time stars. But you can't dispute the fact that a guy like Roman Reigns is needed as well. He can appeal to kids. He can appeal to women. He's a non-white type top star at a time where this company desperately fucking needs these guys. Why so much hate for Roman Reigns? Can you not see that even if it's not the best, can you not see that even if it's not great, that at least this guy becoming a star would be a good thing for the product short term and long fucking term? Or are we going to be that petulant about it and that bratty about it, especially if he wins the Royal Rumble at the end of this month and not Daniel Bryan, that we will poon the fuck out of him and we will try to rebel and we will try to turn him heel and act like a bunch of spoiled fucking brat babies. Come on, man. This guy hasn't even gotten the spot yet and we're already hating on him. And once again, maybe you have some reasons to. I'm not even here to really dispute that. But Jiminy Christ, at this pace, it's only going to be a couple of guys that you ever really want to get pushed, and that's guys like freaking Dolph Ziggler, who, mind you, I've still never seen any real personality out of from a WWE standpoint. They've never done anything to really establish a Dolph Ziggler character. But, oh my God, if he won the Rumble, you guys would fucking circle jerk to that until Tim Buck fucking too. I mean, there are some of you that sit there and assert that William Regal should have been a main event guy. Get the fuck out of here. There are some of you that talk about a guy like Tyson Kidd deserves a main event push. Get the fuck out of here. Those type of guys deserve a main event opportunity, a main event spot, but a Roman Reigns doesn't deserve the opportunity himself? Maybe the problem is the way WWE features him. Maybe the problem is the way the WWE presents him, and I will agree with that. You know, if the guy can't talk, why sit there and give him opportunities to make himself look bad? Why not make him look as good as possible? Make sure that he doesn't say much, and when he does say something, it's short, sweet, to the point, is powerful and impactful. You know, as far as the whole thing, he doesn't wrestle the type of style the guys always like. Well, it's not always about flips and fucking kicks, and it's not just about the in-ring goddamn action. And you should fucking understand that, but of course you don't. But again, to be fair to you, that doesn't really matter to you that much anymore because that's all you really have to grasp onto to justify continuing to be a professional wrestling fan, or at least a wrestling fan of WWE sports entertainment. Look, are we always going to get to this point where if a guy doesn't fit into several of the characteristics that I mentioned earlier, that we're just not going to fucking like him and we'll never give him a chance? I mean, come on. I think about it now, and I look and I say, you know, if Undertaker debuted in 2014, 2015, fans would hate this fucking dude. They'd be like, oh, the only reason he's getting a push is because he's a monster. Same thing with Kane. Same thing with Big Show. They'd look at The Rock and be like, oh, he didn't spend 10 years in the independent scene. He's stupid. Give me a break, guys. What's with the Roman Reigns hate? I'm not telling you have to be a fan of his. I'm not telling you have to say he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, because he most clearly is not. Why so much hate on this guy? I just don't get it.